my swim time. Gonna bust up your behind. This is my swim time. Gonna mess up your whole mind. This is my swim time. Gonna bust up your behind. This is my swim time. Gonna mess up your whole mind.
Welcome to Work the Left Side. I'm hyped to be joined tonight by the Man Mountain, the current BlackHeart champion. It is story time with Andrew Jepson. How are we doing, dude? You good?
Doing good, yeah. I wasn't expecting the story time part. I was tempted to set the chair up, but it's covered in clutter at the minute, so I thought I ain't got 5 minutes to do that.
Real life problems, break. Yeah, no story time today. But no, I had to throw it in there because I just like it. When I think, when you hear things on shows and they just click and it's just like, I like that. That's cool. That's very, very cool. It just adds to the character kind of thing. So, because again, anybody who watches this or anybody who follows us on socials knows we plug the hell out of BlackHeart. We love BlackHeart. I try and push it as much as possible, on all platforms. And you being the champion at the minute, that's huge for me. I'm very excited to have you on.
No, it's good, and as listened to the show all the way from January and even gone back before Christmas, and every time I hear a BlackHeart mention, it's like, that's great to know that a small company like BlackHeart is being mentioned on such quite a big, well, in my mind, it's a big podcast and YouTube channel. So,
nice.
So yeah, every time it's popped, like, yeah, that's us.
Oh, dude, yeah. I mean, it is. Like I said, it's a local promotion for me. I know a lot of the people involved in it. I've known James for years, so I was hyped to sort of hear about that. I mean, Gung Ho Motley is one of my favorite wrestlers nowadays. So it's just, and I just think everything about it. It's an anomaly though. Is BlackHeart? The roster is stacked. You've got so much amazing talent on there. But when I'm watching it, you've kind of got that good balance between what I would define as being over characters kind of thing. Your Henry Winters, your Gung Ho's, those kind of guys. But then you've got the guys that can kind of, just absolutely, not saying that not your can work. I don't want this to be besmirched or taken incorrect.
I know what you mean.
You've got your Billy O'Keefe's, you've got your Supersonic Sammy Blues, you've got your J-Ro Lewis's, you've got your guys like that, which I always kind of likened it to WCW when it was at its peak. When you had, your big characters in the main event, like your Hogan's, your Nash's, your Stings, but then you had like your Malenko's, Guerrero's, and things like that, sort of doing the fast-paced stuff.
Yeah, no, I completely get that. There was a nice variety of a mix of everything from characters, your great ones, your good characters, your good characters who are playing the faces, the good heel characters, and then, as you said, the ones who are very technical wrestlers. Being once or twice being in the ring with, especially being in a Trojan a submission, like, how the heck am I getting out of this one? So there is a brilliant mix of just wide variety of types of styles. Everything is brilliant.
I mean, it must just be, and at the minute as well, I think obviously, the actual YouTube stuff is doing really well. I'm looking at the views on the episodes. They've got a really good amount of numbers on them. So people are liking what you guys are doing. I presume the morale must be pretty high there. And, you have like your big shows on the first Sunday of every month. And then you kind of film the weekly stuff.
Yeah.
I can just imagine the locker room being quite a buzz, really.
No, every time we've been in the locker room, it's always been a buzz. Everyone's friendly with each other. It's such a nice atmosphere to be in. And even when we're training elsewhere at fountains during the week, there's quite a number of people who go to the BlackHeart shows in that same locker room. And they're still buzzing there about it. And when the episodes come out that night, it's like, please give it a watch, share, like it, and everyone's still buzzing and talking about it as well. So it's the guys we have at BlackHeart are just absolutely brilliant. Every single one of them.
I second that. Obviously, I watched it Thursday when it came out. The most recent episode, which had you and Mr. Winter in a contract signing. Love a contract signing on a wrestling show. That makes it feel like an episodic kind of a program where you're like, yes, we have a contract signing. I was that to be a part of, because that was, as a wrestler, you must just be like, I love the ring stuff, but I love the storytelling stuff.
It's the entire story with me and Winter the last year has been brilliant. As much of the story as we've been mates, and now we're not. It's like generally we've been best mates for like probably the last 7 years plus. Ever since we met day one, it's just hit off from the start, and just love working with your mates. You know, in the best way. You don't mind if you're sinking a little bit more harder sometimes. It's you're most comfortable when you're working with people, you know, and just coming into that day, it was quite funny because I think like the week before, Winter had his hand bitten by a dog. So it's like, I might be able to work, I might not be able to. So he'd been to A&E that week. I'd had a cyst on the back of my knee, a butcher's cyst, and my entire leg was swollen up, and it had only just gone down, but I still had this massive ball, tennis-sized ball lump at the back of my knee. So it's like, well, I can't. What we're doing is like, we'll just do a contract signing, forget matches, and we'll just do what we can. So it was fun to be part of it, the first one I've ever done. But as I said, when you're working with close friends, it makes it 10 times better. Just because you kind of know you can go into it a bit more. But yeah, it was just fun to set up and everything about it.
So you've got that kind of freedom, aren't you, kind of thing, where, I mean, you can sort of see if you look back through like anything to do in wrestling kind of thing, you know, like it was like back in the day when Shawn Michaels made his return kind of thing, and he had the street fight with Triple H, you know, those two are best mates, and it was a case of, look, I trust you to work with kind of thing. I know you're going to bring out the best in me, I'll bring out the best in you. It's the old say, you know, best friends, better enemies kind of thing.
Yeah. Now, there's been a number of times we've been in matches and tried to probably make the other person crack as much as possible. There's been a few other little side gimmicks we've done in Lucha Mass, and there's been times I've been glad I've worn a full mask because I can just break and no one can see. Where we're looking across at opponents and they're like in tears, and it's like, it's brilliant because it's just trying to, when you work with mates, you've got that one, yeah, you've got that respect for each other. More trust, but there's just so many more fun scenarios of it, trying to make each other crack, telling each other jokes all the way through. It makes it more fun.
Just imagine it being an absolute nightmare though. It's like, you sort of say, yeah, you're wearing the mask, but you're trying to stop the shoulders from going, just like, no, not.
Yep.
Just keep them tense, but really your shoulders are just going like on a jackhammer or something. But again, it's stuff like that I love to hear, because, you know what I mean, it's just, yeah, what you guys are doing, it's still fun, and you guys are having fun. And whether you know it or not, I think as fans, that kind of radiates to us. If we can see, it's like I always sort of say about films or TV shows, if I know it's a bunch of mates working together and they've just had fun filming it, I'm going to have fun watching it kind of thing. And like, so, yeah, when you guys do that sort of stuff in the ring and whatever, unbeknown to you, probably the energy flows out to us, and it's just like, yeah, we just enjoy it a little bit more.
Yeah, 100%.
But let's get the generic stuff asked. Back in the day, then, you know, what made you take them first steps through the hallowed doors into that training school, and what training school was it?
So, for going way back in the day, we'll probably start. I got into wrestling probably about 7. It must have been about 97 time. I mean, the first time I ever saw wrestling was after Cartoon Network on a Monday night. It became WCW. And I think my brother stayed up watching it with my granddad's. And then I think the first match I saw a glimpse of was Booker T, and I think it was his brother or something. I just remember Booker T in like black pants and someone else in red pants. Looked exactly like Booker. I'm like, what is this? And I'm also exhausted because I'm young as well. I'm like, okay, fine. I mean, the next time was WrestleMania 17. Loved Hardy's TLC matches. I think that was the main thing that drew me in. And then I think every Friday night and Saturday night, sat on the sofa, granddad, brother in the armchair, we made sure 2 hours of Raw and SmackDown, that was us every week. Loved it from that. And then, I think grew out of it a bit as we got into the teenagers. Did a gap year for 2 years in Wales, which is when I got back into it, and it was TNA doing the Aces and Eights storyline. And that proper drew me back into it. And I think the first time I watched an episode of that, it was Devon being demasked. And I'm like, oh no, Devon, I'll keep watching this. So I got into that while I was living in Wales 2 years. When I came back, watching it, and I was watching F1 with my brother one night, and he just asked the question, how does it make you feel knowing you can't be an F1 driver because you're too tall? I was like, that's like wrestling. Wrestling's more done in America, because I knew of no companies beyond the wrestling scene in England was either WWE coming over, or we'd been on holiday, a Butlin show, or what felt like a traveling show from America. And then you just searched online local wrestling schools. Like, I was one in Sheffield. Go down Sunday mornings, like, don't know. So I said I would. Got to Sunday morning, had diarrhea. So I was like, I can't think I've got myself out of this. And then it dawned on me for a few weeks. And I thought, I'll have a look at it again. Looked it up and I found one in Leeds, down Kirksall Roads. It was Grapple. So then it got to the Thursday night, went down, and I thought, I've played rugby for 11 years. I'm still fit. I'll do the fitness session before it, and then I'll do the training session. It'll be great. Did the fitness session, and after like 40 minutes, just proper breathing out my ass. I was like, this is a different level of fitness. Stuck with it though. Body was shocked, proper gone. Got to the actual training session and absolutely loved it. Fell in love with it straight away. It was brilliant. Being scared to flip bump, I remember that. And then as soon as conquered that, it's like, love doing them. And then afterwards, I met my brother for a Burger King afterwards because he wanted to know how I got on. And he was like, you didn't go, did you? And it's like, I went, I'm in so much pain and I'm going to be worse tomorrow. But no, that was how it started. I always like to say it started from a conversation about F1 with my brother. And people look and was like, how does that work? I was like, I'll tell you. So,
nice. Makes, like sort of said, it's kind of like being like, thinking something's unachievable or unattainable, to being like that realization of being like, hang on a minute, I can actually do this. So it's kind of like, okay, the light bulb moment, I'd be like, right, okay, now I know I can do it. Right, let's see where, and especially obviously, I know, back in the day, not even back in the day, even like 10 years ago or something, it's a hell of a lot different to what it is now. I mean, now I sort of say, you're probably not 15 minutes away from a wrestling school, no matter where you are. You're not 30 minutes away from a good wrestling school, no matter where you are, kind of thing. It's a lot more accessible now, but at least you found Grapple, and that's a great school to start with, to be fair.
Yeah, absolutely love Grapple. I will admit, I miss Grapple days back down when it was in Leeds Cage, down Kirksall Roads. They were just brilliant days. And there's a few people who meet at training still. Every now and then we just end up talking. I was like, Grapple days, training were brilliant.
I think there's a lot of people, obviously a lot of wrestlers in the Yorkshire area that actually have got footprints in Grapple or went through Grapple, or so it is a very esteemed. It is kind of like, I think if somebody says they were trained at Grapple, it kind of gives you like a little bit of a credence. It's like, okay, this person's cool. They have that Grapple association. So obviously from Grapple, I think obviously you spent a bit of time in UKW. I've got to bring this up, so I do, just because of the size of the ring alone. I always, if I know somebody's worked at UKW, nothing else matters to me, but 20-foot ring, mate, it's huge.
Yeah, I found this one out the hard way. So, I think after about 4 years at Grapple, I continued going there as long as I could. But my wife was wrestling as well. We didn't meet through wrestling, which is really weird. She'd been wrestling longer than me. She went to UK Dub. went there, got on a few shows, and when I started there, we had the smaller ring, but I soon jumped to the 20-foot ring, and I had this. I was still at a point where finding a character. I was just doing moves I love to do, and one of them was the worm jumping to the swagger bomb, bounced off the bottom rope and throw myself out, landed on them. And I thought, I'm going to do this. Yeah. And this 20-foot ring, worm across corner to corner. I'm like, my goodness, this is not worth it. I remember getting to the other side, having to actually couldn't pop to my feet. I had to actually just push myself up and do it. I was like, I'm not doing that again.
One time. Whoever witnessed that one time, that's it. That's one time.
If I did it again, I started middle of the ring. I maybe did it twice, 3 times. Like, there we go.
Just it amazes me because again, it's just you don't see many 20-foot rings. So anytime I see any video footage, I've spoken to people, it's like I'd like momentum on, and I know it's like just that 20-foot ring amazes me. I'm just like, it always kind of intrigues me as well. Also, like when you're training, or I know it's not quite as drastic as like back in the day, like if you went from a 4-sided ring to the TNA 6-sided ring kind of thing. But when you're running the ropes and stuff to go from a 12 to 6 or 16 or to like a 20, it must take some adjustment. You must be like leaning into the ropes halfway through and be like, oh shit, no, right, got some more to go.
It's a massive adjustment, but because when I started being part of training at Grapple, I always like to say, like, I learned all my stuff and skills at Grapple, but when I jumped to UK Dub, it gave me so much more opportunity of being on, which turns eventually to weekly shows, a 20-foot ring, especially. I think we got used to it in a way, but as soon as you jump maybe downstairs, you go in the smaller room, you go back upstairs, like, oh, I practice this in the smaller. It's so much different. It gives you'd think it gives you more time for like leaps and sleeps and stuff, but which it does, but at the same time, it's just more knackering because everything's more out of place. If anything, you think you sleep, from off to actually go for the sleep. It's like, cool, I just need to pop up. Wait, I still need to move 5 feet that way because I'm not centered. It throws you off even more. So in a way, it gives you more time, but you don't realize there is a massive adjustment to it.
That's what I mean. That's what it's just, everything's different, the positioning, everything like that. I don't know if you ever did if you've done a leapfrog, or if you was like diving at the feet trying to trip them up and they jump over you, instead of like just moving forward a little like a foot, you've got to cover like a foot period to try and get to their feet before they jump, to make it look like you're decking them up, kind of thing. It's just, dude, blows my mind. I'm just like, it's awesome, but then part of me is just like, I don't know. I'm kind of, I wouldn't know how I would deal with it. Obviously, as a fan, I'm just looking at it being like, that's just, I can't even imagine what that's like. Obviously, you guys are like, it takes some adjustment, but it's workable. But so, UKW then, is that kind of, as you sort of said, that's when you start doing the episodic stuff, the weekly stuff. Is that when you kind of was able to kind of work on the character, build the character?
I will admit, characters work is not my best. For me, it's always just been, I want to jump in the ring and just wrestle. But it's where things started coming together. So the man mountain nickname came about of, I think the ring announcer when I first started there was like, oh, what's your wrestling name? It's like, oh, Andrew Jepson's like, anything else? No. Cool. I mean, it went about 3 shows by, and then I realised he was announced me as the man mountain. I'm like, how long's this been going on for? And they asked him after, and it's like, last couple shows. It's like, oh, I like it. That's quite cool. And then it just stuck from that. And then it would just kind of become a bit of, you're just a big dude. It's like, okay, just do big guy stuff, which it's a mix of, it's fun. I like doing it, but for a big guy, I'm pretty agile and I like doing flippy stuff. So I really struggled with character work because it's in my mind, it's like, I want to be big cruise, like the biggest cruiserweight. There's a point where I have my weight announced as 305, so it sounds like the whole cruiserweight of 205. But yeah, I remember being in training sessions with people and just like, you're a big guy, yeah, you got to do flippy stuff, yeah. And then we're trying to argue it doesn't look as impressive. And someone said in a session, if they're like Jeff Hardy comes out does a swanton bottom, people cheer for it and pop for it, yeah. But if Undertaker came out and did a swanton bottom, which didn't look as good, no one would pop for it. But instantly everyone was like, but it's a big guy doing a flip. It might not look as good, but it's impressive. So it's that mix of, I like doing the flippy stuff, but after a while it did sink in and click. Like it's when as I said, like UK dub, I kind of got to adjust and put everything together that I learned at Grapple properly in place, and started not just learning what my match was and who I was learning, understanding the card of each match on the card has its own proper place. Each wrestler on the card has its own place. If the guy in the first match is going out who is a cruiserweight doing the flippy stuff, that's great. And if I go out and do the same stuff or similar stuff, it overlooks him. So it was not just learning the character side of me, but it was learning how to place myself on a card. That whole thing of, if you're in the first match going out, teaching the new people in that crowd how wrestling works, all of that, when you cheer, when you boo. If we're in the later on in the match, later on in the cards, it's understanding, okay, what's being done and what's about to be done. I need to do something different. Is the match before me a fast-paced match, or is it a comedy match, or is it very technical and need to be different? So it was learning a lot of that stuff from doing it. And yeah, I still say I don't have the best character, but it's from understanding where to place myself and how to use myself, it's kind of helped me get some sort of character work there. And now, especially as Jepson, shout at ref, that's my easiest go-to.
Yeah, that's it. To be fair, you don't have to. And like I said, you're a big dude, like 6'4". You stand out. Your character is, you're not a stereotypical big guy kind of thing. Like I said, because of what you do this, you do that. You don't have to be an OTT with the character. Like I say, you just being a little bit gnarly every now and again. But I love that whole. I've had this conversation with numerous people. It's always, some people kind of agree with some stuff, some people don't agree with other stuff. And there's not any right way to do it, I don't think, but there's different mindsets. But yeah, I love that whole kind of positioning on a card. You know, what match goes on where on a card, or like you sort of said, for me. You said it perfectly. Like the first match is, I think I was having this conversation with somebody a couple of weeks ago where we kind of sort of said, yeah, your first match is important because you're training the audience. Like a percentage of the audience might be long-term fans that come all the time, but you're always going to get fans at a show and it's their first show. Yeah. Who don't really, who might not be quite comfortable or might not quite know what to do. So that first show, basically what you're doing is you're showing them, this is the good guy, this is the bad guy. You cheer this guy and you boo this guy. And the good guy's going to be really, really good, and the bad guy's just going to be really gnarly. Just make it very obvious who's who, and teach the fans what to do, basically.
Yeah, it is. And a person, you won't know this because I've not seen him for absolutely years, but a person who helped me understand that even more was Dutch from Fight Factory. So he came up for a number of UK dub shows, and I'd be like second out, sit down, watch it in the back, and I'd be sat next to him and I'd listen to him just kind of, I'm not pulling apart, but talking through each match. Like, we need to do this now, we need to go into this part. They've gone too long, this part's gone too long, or it's gone too short. And just sat next to people watching wrestling, we're just like, I've never thought of it that way. And it just helped me so much. So it was, even when in the back, when I had no kids with me, not having to look after my kids, just soaking in everything as a sponge, watching it back, learn every part. Don't just learn at training, learn through the shows, car journeys, everything.
That's what they were sort of saying. That's why kind of like, because again, I know it's kind of frowned upon, like, if you're at a show or if you're new to the business and you're at a show, and I know it's always kind of, preferred if talent kind of like sit down and just watch the show, to see what everybody else is doing, even though so you know what's been done, so you know not what not to replicate, or even so you hear people talking about it, and like I say, you pick stuff up. But yeah, massive shout out to Dutch from Fight Factory. Spoke to him a few weeks ago. Actually, I want to do a Fight Factory episode at some point because it's very, very cool promotion, very cool people. So it's always nice when they get a mention. So thank you for that. Big shout out to Dutch and everyone there. So man, I'd love to see. I think big man Jepson could tear it up down at Fight Factory. If they ever come calling.
If they did, I wouldn't say no. It'd be a nice conversation with the wife and seeing how free we are, but we went. They invited us down for a day for the show once many years ago. Me and the wife, I went down for the day, helping set up, watch the show, take down, and spent the afternoon with them. Went for food, went to where they train, and I can't no bad words to say about Dutch and found that everything down there, what they're doing is brilliant.
No, definitely. And I just think that's, it's British wrestling in general at the minute. I think, no matter where you are or where you're at, there's always something around to watch or enjoy or, take a part in. But yeah, I think somebody else has sort of said, like when you're looking at a show or you look at where you are on the card kind of thing, you can stand there and you can look at the card and you can be like, right, okay, this person's on here, this person's on there. Right, okay, so this person's better than me at the flippy stuff, so we'll take that off the table. That person's better than me at the technical stuff. Okay, we'll take that off the table. Right, nobody's better than me at brawling. Right, okay, that's what I'm doing tonight. I'm going to make it. It's going to be a more brawling emphasized match kind of thing.
Yeah, I think as when we're training, I'm telling people, it's like be aware of who's before and after you. It's 100% always be aware of the people around you, not just more importantly either side of your match, but also as much the kind of a match as well. You don't want to duplicate stuff. If the second match beforehand, I wouldn't say it's a bad thing at the start of it, but for me, it's normally I'm just going to break out of everything big man style, start throwing you about, then switch it to something else. Try and keep it as different as possible. The main way I think of it.
Best way to do it, dude. Like, so it makes you stand out. If you're doing something and somebody else is doing it better than you, then why do it? Because you're not gonna, they're good people are gonna be talking about them doing it, not you doing it, kind of thing. So you want to be doing something that you're the best at compared to everybody else, kind of thing. So you can kind of go in and be like, right, okay, yeah, we'll mix it up a little bit. I'm kind of want to make yourself shine and make the show shine as well. So talking about big men though, doing flippy stuff, I kind of want to rewind back to that because there's various examples now I think that you can kind of look at. I'm kind of curious, if I don't know what you're watching nowadays or how much you're watching nowadays, kind of thing. But you talk to me about quick big men. One of the first names that pops up is Mike Awesome. For me that dude was amazing. Crazy tall and flippy as hell, but like 7 foot or something. Just got put with a very shitty gimmick in WCW. You got Wardlow nowadays doing the Swanton.
Yeah.
I just think there's been very. I mean, obviously back in the day, like you Bam Bam Bigelows and guys like that. They were big guys, but they were quick. So I don't know if you're looking at any of them, it's kind of like, because again, I don't know if you if you pull inspiration from anything or if you watch anybody's matches and think like, oh, okay, that's kind of cool. Maybe I could work that in somehow or kind of put a spin on it.
There's a number of matches I do. When I don't watch much wrestling, I struggle to get around at the minute. I'm stuck with watching kid stuff. It's that, and when I'm not watching that, it's normally, I don't know, we've just finished House of a Dragon at the minute, so whatever's going to be the next thing going. But no, when I do get to watch it, is that mix of, I try to watch it as see what I can take from it, especially if someone like Warlord is on. I'll admit, I struggle watching AEW sometimes, but when I do watch it, there's a few people I do keep an eye on, and he's one of them. And it's a mix. I don't watch that many. The big guys don't get me interested that much, which is weird. I try and force myself to watch some of the big guys, but or just anyone in general. When I get to watch wrestling, I want to watch this. But what tends to happen when it's a good match, and nowadays it's almost every match, I just get sucked in as a fan. And it's like, that's brilliant, that's great. What happened?
Notebooks be like, I
mean, the only times it's not happened is when I'm probably being more negative about it. Like, I was watching, I think the last major one I watched would have been SummerSlam. And we've got a group of us texting, messaging each other like about the show, what we're watching. I remember watching like first match. Oh, that's great. I love the story. Second match, they got corner posted again. Third match, they've been posted again. And every match, someone got posted, and it's that thing of as we've already said, know what's happening before and after. If you've seen something done, don't repeat it. And the main thing we came out of watching SummerSlam was in every match, someone got posted, which is not the biggest of sports, but it's not.
It takes you out of it. Like, if you notice it, it takes you out of the moment, which is half the battle in wrestling. They're doing what they do to try and sort of suspend disbelief. If they then do something to sort of fracture that, it's like, crap, right, I'm out of the moment now. I've kind of lost it.
Yeah, it's, as I said, I try and watch every match I watch. What can I learn from this? But as soon as I get sucked in, I forget everything I've just watched. But if there's something, it's been repeated, then the negative mind jumps on. It's like, it's been done. I've seen that. That wasn't as nice as it could be. And then it just comes down. It's like, right, pick up the phone.
But at that point, I'm turning it off then, because you're kind of like, well, I'm not enjoying it anymore. But I always love to hear that, because again, two mindsets. Some people I talk to can't watch wrestling anymore, without a note or a mental notebook or something. But then other people are like, no, mate, still love it. I must love wrestling. I'm doing this and put myself through this. I'm still a fan of it. So yeah, I'm watching it 100% kind of thing. And the general middle ground seems to be, like, you can always tell when it's a really good match when, like I say, you just get sucked into it. And like, you look at a notebook and be like, yeah, I didn't bother making any notes. I was enjoying the match too much.
Yeah. And I'd say 9 times out of 10, that's me.
Yeah.
Sucked into it too much, which is a good thing.
Oh, definitely. I meant to start this show with this really kind of thing, just as a sign of respect. But he's been talking about big men. Just before we hit record, I got a few messages just giving me the heads up about Sid Vicious, Psycho Sid, having passed away. So I just want to acknowledge the awesomeness that was Sid back in the day and show him some love. But yeah, I just want to mention big. Since we're talking about big men, I always thought the man was very much underappreciated by modern day fans. Anyway.
Yeah, I'll admit I didn't see much of him, but every time I did see him, it was always like a flip me. He's huge. He always stood out.
That's right. I'm showing my age here because obviously I'm a bit older than you. I started watching it early 90s. My period, I dropped out of it for 3 or 4 years. Mid 90s, got back into it with the Hell in a Cell match. And then obviously been watching it ever since, give or take. But yeah, Sid was always kind of a. But I've been rewatching a lot of the 97 pay-per-views with JC at the minute, and Sid's massive part in 97. And the dude's he looks like a creator wrestler kind of thing. And the fans just eat him up. The dude's crazy. So he will be missed. He's another wrestling legend, gone away. But back to the lighter stuff. Sorry to kind of, if I ruined
No, it's fine.
Well, it's just while I was thinking about it, I was like, right, I don't want to think, right, I'll do that at the end of the episode and then totally forget and it'd be like, dude. So yeah, talking, I said, you mentioned Wardlow, for me, he's just, like I said, he's just, when you said Swanton, that just kind of, I think you're the same as me at the minute as well, because obviously you mentioned, like kids. I get to watch wrestling sporadically, or if I'm watching it, it's when I've got the house to myself for a little bit, and I'll go on YouTube and I might watch. It's become, I hate to say it because I hate it, but it's kind of become like playlists with music, where I might not watch like pay-per-views. I'll just watch random matches here and there, kind of thing. Or somebody shouting out a match, you need to watch this match. I'm like, right, I'll check this match out. I very rarely watch pay-per-views anymore, just because of time restraints.
So I'm the opposite. If anything, I only watch pay-per-views. I'm more of a WWE guy, but I don't have anything to watch Raw and SmackDown on. So normally it's just the pay-per-views, as we call them, PLEs. Nowadays, and I try watch it live. As I said, we've got a group chat which talks about it. If I don't, I hear all the results the next morning. And part of me's like, as much as I know it's wrestling and how it works, I still don't want to know the winner.
Yeah.
I still want that excitement. I still want to know is who's interrupting, who's jumping, who's coming back. But no, I'll try and watch it live. If not, I'll probably watch it for the next few mornings when I wake up. Oldest and I'll wake up like, oh, it wakes up. I'm like, I want to watch this. I want to watch Paw Patrol. This, that. If he says Bluey, I'm like, oh, I might say yes to Bluey, but it's like, no, SummerSlam's on. Need to watch this, especially when I think it was SummerSlam was on the night before the last BlackHeart show, and I was like, I can't be up till 4 or 5 in the morning, and then be woken up at 6 by kids on an hour's sleep. I thought I'll watch half, I'll stop, and if I wake up at this time, I'll watch the rest in the morning. I don't think he was happy, but as soon as he sees wrestling, he's sucked into it as well.
Oh, awesome. That's cool. At least you kind of got him trained, so it's kind of like, right, if Daddy's watching wrestling, all right, you know, we'll let it slide kind of thing. You know, let him finish watching it. Mine, unfortunately, he's got. So he loves to go to watch it live. I've taken him to Tidal shows, to Planet Wrestle. He loves watching it live. Force the crap out of him on TV, so I just cannot. Yeah, if it's on TV and he comes in, I'm like, right, here's the remote, turn it off. It's fine. I'll watch it later or something. I think that's why I've got into use just watching matches here and there, kind of thing. Because, dude, I'm fighting a losing battle, unfortunately. So I've admitted defeat, and the boys won. So, it's. I mean, that's the thing as well. That to me is just goes to show the amount of wrestling that is out there. I mean, I know we both know Ash. That was the kind of common factor that got us talking, kind of thing. And I know that boy watches a lot of wrestling. You know, he tries to find time to watch it. I'm living vicariously kind of through Ash. You know, he's like, right, you tell me what's going on. I don't need to watch it because you're watching it. You can just tell me what's what kind of thing. It's just, there's that much stuff out there, dude. Like if you were going to commit to it, you could lose days at an end.
Yeah. No, I remember when the network first came out, the WWE Network, and they were saying like there's something like 12 hours of footage to watch a week of just WWE. And then when you throw in now AEW with Dynamite, Rampage, Collision, that's probably like another 7 hours. Then, if anything, I probably find more interest of watching more local stuff on YouTube more interesting. Yep. There's been a few times I thought, oh, I'll throw True Grit on or something else, and I find more interest of that because it's either people I know or trained with in the past or currently, and it's like I want to see what they're doing differently, because at the end of the day, if I'm wrestling to an audience within my area, then I want to see what people in my area are wrestling like and what they're doing. Whereas watching wrestlers over in AEW, WWE, or anywhere else, it's like that's a world audience. I need probably, if anything, try to focus on the local area first.
That's smart. Like I said, like we touched on it before. Like I said, there's that many promotions as well in Leeds. I think there's 5 or 6 good promotions where you can lose yourself just watching that sort of stuff. So, and that's kind of obviously character development for you there. So that's more of not watching it as a fan. That's just kind of like homework. Like I said, you kind of watching it to gauge what the audience are reacting to, what they're not reacting to. I'm presuming as well, just to like how certain promotions present things or other promotions present your characters or shows.
Yeah, presenting is a big one as well, because our church, we've got monthly shows at our church as well, which we're highly involved with, and it's want to see how they do it, not to steal ideas, but also just to compare, but also just to if they're doing something better than us, like, oh cool, we want to probably try and up our game just as much as them, because I wouldn't say we're competing against anyone local. If anything, you want to push yourself so that it encourages other people to push themselves. And I think also from the wrestling side of stuff, I don't want to be doing something myself, going one way and there's a character, like I want to do this, but knowing if someone 10 minutes, 20 minutes down the road is doing exactly the same thing, same style, same everything, same. It's like, well, if they're doing that, I need to change me.
That's it. That's what you be aware of what other people are doing, aren't you? Like you sort of said, just so you don't replicate, 'cause that's the thing as well. Like, I think there's a lot more characters in wrestling now. Over the last couple of years, characters are kind of making a comeback. It's very more story driven. It's very easy to get the fans emotionally attached if there's character work involved. I think if the story's being told, the fans are more on the edge of the seat. The fans care more, and you can do less and get a bigger reaction.
Yeah, 100%. I learned that. I had a match with Sean Only, I think it was about 3-4 years ago, and 100%. And going into it nervous, I remember one of the first things he was saying to me is, we're both tall guys, we don't need to bump as much. We can easily tell a nice story and have a decent match and only bump 2-3 times each at tops. And it's what we did, and it came out as one of the best matches I've done, or one of the favourite matches I've done. I remember my wife saying to me afterwards, because every time she's been wrestled, she's instantly like, this was bad, that you should have done this, should have done that. I remember going back to her after and like, so what is it like? It's like, absolutely brilliant. It's like, came out of it both fine. I remember on the saying to us afterwards, like, literally there were 3 bumps between us. We didn't need anything else. It told a decent story. That's it.
And if you're going to listen to anyone about telling stories, then Mr. Sean Only is definitely, in like the top 5 of people that I would be like, yep. This guy, if this guy tells you something, you listen.
Yeah, 100%. He always pulls on me in a number of stuff. So one of them's always the same thing. So I do my best to try, but it's one thing that nibbles away. But no, I love Pete. I've got all the time in the world for him. There's a point a couple of years ago where I couldn't wrestle for a year, and there was a few times I got to drive him from A to B, and it's like, you'd pay money to go to a seminar to listen to him, but it's like I got the free version in the car, and yeah, just listen to him in a car journey, talking to him, picking his mind, whether that's an hour or 2 hours in a round trip or whatever, is just brilliant. You get an opportunity to do it, it's priceless. Get an opportunity to do it.
I know a lot of the guys that we mentioned earlier, like Billy, J-Ro, Sammy, I know they kind of do the round trip with him a lot to Temple. Yeah. So obviously that's like a 4-hour round trip, I think. So I think those guys are trying to soak it in as much as possible, just picking his brain. It's going to get to a point where I'm sure Pete just gets in the car and like, just put the music on. No more wisdom. None for you today. We'll talk wisdom next week.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think Gung Ho was all about it as well, where literally I think Pete just ripped one of Gung Ho's matches apart. And in retrospect, he was like, best thing he ever did, because it kind of motivated me to, try harder.
Oh, no, 100%. Like, I'd say one of the worst things you can have, and I found this a lot in some places, you do a match, you go to the promoter or somebody else who's watching, it's like, you watch the match? Yeah. Any feedback? No, it was all good. It's like, oh, that's great, but what was wrong? It's like, I can't think about. It's like, how? I need something to improve. And then as soon as I started doing BlackHeart started and Pete was there, I'd have my wife say, have you asked Pete how he matched? I was like, no, he scares me. Yeah, I'm 6'4", but I'm easily intimidated, very shy. So I'll just go ask him. And that thing of, yeah, I get this looked good, that looked good, but I'd also get that constructive criticism back. I was like, this is what I need. This is what I've missed the last number of years. So I mean, it can be that thing of, right, let's go home, let's practice it at training, let's bring it back next time.
That's it. I think, again, I don't think it's through anyone's fault. Sometimes it might just be like they can't be asked, so they just say, yeah, everything's fine, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
But I think other times as well, people are just trying to be nice and just be like, yeah. When, it's counterproductive, because you kind of like, no, just what didn't you like? tell me about it. Be nice about it. Be, like say, polite. But tell me what I could do better, and I can go work on it, and I can go be better. If you keep telling me that I'm great, I'm just kind of stay at this level for the rest of my life.
Yeah, no, I get the whole trying to be nice thing, but you need that constructive criticism. You need that way to improve.
That's it. I mean, even like the guys who get paid millions, nobody has ever had a perfect match. I don't think. I think there's always something that could, even if it's just one minor detail, there's always something that could have been. I don't know. People may go at me in the comments, or I might get a few messages being like, Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, WrestleMania, perfect match, or Austin, Bret Hart, perfect match. I'm like, yeah, they were great matches, but I think if you sit there and pick at it, you'll find something that could be improved upon. So, yeah, constructive criticism is good, especially when you're learning, because it just motivates you to try harder. I mean, where are you sort of placed? When you get a chance, kind of things. Obviously, I know busy man. Where are you training these days?
So, as I said earlier, we've got at our church. We've got like monthly shows there. We also have our own training school / academy. It's Fountains Church Bradford Wrestling, or as we call it, FCB Wrestling. We have that every Thursday night from centre of Bradford, next to the Alhambra, from 6:30 till 8:30. And yeah, we've got Sean Only, who is our head trainee, and can't complain. It's absolutely brilliant. Really can't. I will admit it's weird. It's a weird training session because we don't have the ring up every week because of space, and it's because it's a church building. It's hired out every day, so it can't be up 24/7. So we mainly train on mats. But when it is up, it's that thing of we've done all the training on the mats for the last couple of weeks. Here's the ring. Let's make the most of it.
Yeah.
Everything you've been taught the last couple of weeks, we don't need to go through it again because you've done it. So jump in the ring. Let's get whatever he wants us to do. Let's do these matches, these sequences, this part of the match, that part of the match. But when we can, like this week, for instance, we have wrestle weeks. Or we try to have like a wrestle week in holidays, and we've got one this week. So we've got like 4 days in a row, 2.5 hours training. We have 2 days with Sean Only. One day it's Friday with Enserico. I'm not going to get this last one wrong. Saturday we've got CJ Banks.
Ooh.
So I think it is. I'm not. I don't do the promoting side of it. But yeah, we've got a wrestle week this week. Looking forward to it. I'm hoping and praying my knee can keep up with it.
Yeah, dude. That sounds awesome. That's 3. We'll take it. It's CJ Banks. CJ Banks is awesome. He's a name that if you know who it is, he's not appreciated enough. I think CJ was huge. He's hung about with Travis, Danny Hope, Joey Hayes, Martin Kirby. Those guys. CJ was one of those guys, kind of thing, and he's probably forgotten more about wrestling than the majority of people will ever learn in their lifetime, kind of thing. So you got him. Obviously, Wes is awesome, and Serico, and Pete. So that's a good week for people to absorb a shed load of information. Yeah,
I'm looking forward to it. I think it's brilliant. We have Pete every week. Having him twice this week would be great. And Serico, brilliant. We've had him the last 2 times we've done this wrestle week, and both times have been brilliant. Looking forward to Saturday with Banks. Literally, it's a fun week. Just before I go back to work, I'll go back to work properly next week, work in the school, and be like, why can't you move?
Well, last week somebody kept throwing me about, or I kept throwing myself around. That's even worse. I think hopefully, mate, strap it up, get the ice packs ready. I don't know. Get yourself get a massive bucket or something in the back garden, fill it full of ice water, and just dive in it for an hour.
Oh, will do.
That's my recommendation. I don't expect you to do that, dude. I would not do that. That would be freaking torturous. Especially now, it's not even warm anymore. It's like, just. I remember seeing a video of somebody jumping in an ice bucket, just be like, "Oh, it's so nice. It's so relaxing for the muscles. You know, it helps my muscles recover." I'm like, dude, no, don't want to do that.
As I said earlier, I've had an issue over the summer with my knee, and we've got a friend who's I'm going to get this wrong. I think the physio works, and he's given my wife advice in the past, and he gave her, like, with her ankle, ice bath it. When I saw him and spoke to him about it, and he was like, "Yeah, just get ice bath, jump in that, do that." And I did that a few times, and it's the worst thing, especially as a male. Lowering yourself down to the back, you're thinking, bum first. It never is. I mean, you sat there like, you get used to it. Yeah.
Just get some ice cubes and wrap it. Yeah, forget the whole bath. Just ice that area. You know, don't need to ice my whole body. Just ice the knee. Yeah, get some ice cubes and a towel and wrap it around your knee or something. Hopefully, it'll be just as good. Nowhere near us, and you're not sat there dithering or turn into a Smurf in the bath.
Yeah.
What we've got. I mean, obviously, you know, we talked. You know, we had the contract signing. You know, for BlackHeart, which is obviously leading to the big match between you and Mr. Winter at the next BlackHeart show, which I believe is the second Sunday. Or was it this? I know you guys went to one of the first Sunday of every month, but the first Sunday in September is the first. So you guys, is it on the first or is it on the 8th?
It's on the 8th.
It's on the. I thought it was. You tried for the first. It's normally the first Sunday of every month, but I clocked it was the 8th for some reason this time.
Yeah, it's normally the first Sunday of the month. And the standing for it for this month is because with everyone going back to school that week, and obviously James has family, we've got family, even myself's back at school. But I think they just thought that Sunday is just going to be chaos for everyone. We're even coming back from holidays, coming back from being away, wherever, last day trip somewhere, everything ready, bed early. So it's just put it back a week, let them have that first week at school, then just jump back into it. But looking forward to it. Absolutely can't wait.
It's gonna be a big, like I say, because the storyline itself is, you know, like I say, it's been going on for a long time. It's like a year or so in the making. You know, you've got numerous victories over him. You've kind of going into it. You know, you've got his number. You know, he's never been able to beat you. You know, is this the one time? Is he finally going to get that big W and you know, get the belt? So again, that's what BlackHeart do for me at the minute. Is they tell stories very well.
Yeah, they always have, and it's a mix of Winter and Breeze who do it all. They've always been massive story people. There was between them both. I know they sit down for coffee like every couple of weeks, write everything out. They've have stories written out like a year in advance plus, but they're both very story driven. And our Breeze.
Sorry,
And our Breeze used to write stories for UK Dub a number of years ago, and we'd be, because we're good friends with both, and we're good friends with him as well. Me and my wife would be around his house like 3 times a week and just be talking wrestling. We'd be up till 4 o'clock talking wrestling, pulling up out like main storylines of like WWE, but then he'd be talking for everything in UK Dub as well, like what's happening, what's going forward, where we're going with that. It's like, I'm excited to be part of this. But as I've always said to him, like, don't ask me what I want to do because I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know where to start. And I'd be sat there wanting to put myself the top spot, doing all the big things. Like, I'll happily talk about other stuff, but I just don't want to talk about it. Tell me what I'm doing. That's it. I don't want to say. But no, they've always been key of story. And I think the good thing of this weekly show of Unleashed they've had, it's helped keep that story alive from show to show, because sometimes, especially if you've got monthly shows, you go to one month, that was great, you get to the next month, and unless they have like a screen of like what happened previously, if it's your first time, no idea. A good thing if you go into like somewhere like BlackHeart, it's like, oh, we're off to a wrestling show. Like, cool, just go back and watch a few episodes of this, 20 minutes each. You can easily do it if you're sat in the toilet.
Yeah.
Don't scroll through social media, just watch this, and you'll soon be up to speed. So, yeah.
Well, that's actually, you hit the nail on the head. So, on a night time, Thursday night, it gets uploaded. I go upstairs. I run my son's bath. That's when I pretty much watch BlackHeart and share and post about it every Thursday kind of thing. It's like, yeah, that's it. Jobs are good. And it's just like I said though, it's kind of like that's the whole watching playlist, watching wrestling like a playlist kind of thing now. Because one episode of BlackHeart, like I say, it's 20 minutes. It's like bish bash bosh. Then I'll watch something else that's quite short. Then I'll watch something else that's quite short. But yeah, it's like I said, it's just so much easier for you guys as well. Going into those bigger shows, kind of knowing that 87% of the audience is keyed into what's going on because they're watching it on a weekly they're watching it weekly. So it kind of takes, I don't know if it takes the pressure off you guys, but you can kind of go in there being like, right, we don't have to spoon feed them as much because they know what's going on.
I've never thought of it as that way of a thing of having a spoon feed the crowd, but every time I've come out, and especially the last 3 months while Winter's been back, it's just been really dead easy. He's had, I don't like using the word eating out of the hand, but the crowd's been behind him every step of the way. They've hated me every step of the way. We even have neighbours who come to the show, and we've out playing with them and kids and all that on nights, and even they're talking about it, saying like, oh, I love you, but I hate booing you. You're just an easy guy to boo. Why can't you leave Neil alone? It's like, because it's so much fun.
But boo me, I want you to boo me, that's fine. I'm not going to take it offensively, I'm not going to fall out with you if you boo me. You're doing what I want you to do, that's fine. But yeah, I was watching this week's and I was just kind of like I say, yeah, I think that's the thing as well with obviously Henry Winter. It's a fan favourite. It's like say you can pretty much do anything and the fans react to what he's doing. It's like the contract signing, just being stood there pointing at either chair and the fans were like reacting, and he's just like, yeah, he's right, okay. Like I said, he's got them exactly where he wants them, kind of thing. He's got them in the palm of his hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't mean anything gnarly by the spoon feeding. Kind of like, yeah, it's just like, so you're not having to recap stuff like you said. You don't need to, because it's there kind of thing. You can come out and you can just, you don't have to think about what you've done previously. You can just come out and be like, right, I know what I'm doing tonight. I know most people know what we've done previously, so let's just do this tonight. Let's do the contract signing. And dude, in all fairness, I was all for your attire, the shirt, the waistcoat. For me, that was a little niggle I had with the whole segment, was where he tried to be like, Henry was taking the mick out of what he was wearing. As a wrestling fan, I was like, the dude's dressed as a champion with respect. That to me was a kind of like, I was like, I appreciated that. And I know I shouldn't have done because you were the heel, but
no, it's thanks. Every time I watch the sign, it's like, they'll wear a suit. I know I'm not wrestling. Let's take this opportunity. And I think before I left, even the wife said, "Are you taking the what you're dressing up in?" It's like waistcoat and everything. Like, I'll go full out for it. And I thought, I'll just wear what I wear for Book of Jepson stuff. See if anyone picks up on it. And someone in the crowd actually said it as soon as they started picking out what I was saying. It's like, at least I've got one fan.
So I mean, that was obviously very, very cool as well. So obviously, we're talking character. Where did this story time with Jepson thing come from? Is it just like a light bulb moment, or is it something you kind of seen somewhere else and you kind of thought,
So it was a mix of, I feel really bad because I can't remember who you had on. You had someone on that were talking about when you're doing your character work and promos, don't just be, everyone does that generic sat in a car promo because it's the quietest place where you can hear him. And I think the promo I did before this, I was like, behind the church, it's this nice brick wall. I'd use that. It's not a car, but it's something different. It looks like I'm outside somewhere waiting to do something. And then with the Book of Jepson thing, I thought, this is really bad. I was like, I remember this old kids program called Storytellers or something, where they tell stories. I was like, oh, that'd be nice for doing it, like telling a story. And then it just slowly started clicking of like, well, I've got a heater which is more or less a fireplace. I can rest the belt on that. I just need a big leather book. So I grabbed a scrapbook of the wife's photo thing, and yeah, I was off work for 4 days because I had conjunctivitis. So it's like, I need time to kill.
There you go.
So just wipe the eye just before I start. Right, let's go.
Dude, give you your props. It was awesome. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I love that part, that episode of BlackHeart where you did that, because again, it tied perfectly in, telling the story, character work. It made it feel like an episodic show. When BlackHeart do stuff like that, when you do the contract signing, when you do the story time with Jepson, it just makes it feel like it is a weekly show kind of thing, which I can't stress enough is kind of important because it makes it stand out.
Yeah, and I think it was also around close to the start of doing the whole Unleash stuff, and I think Motley the week before had just done like a montage of fitness stuff, and they were doing all the other stuff, and I was like, well, if I need to do a promo, I don't just want to. I'm Andrew Jepson here to beat you up. It's like, no, let's try put everything in. I've got the time. Let's try do everything for it. And I thought I need to kind of up the bar to see if he would up the bar as well. So I kind of thought, yeah. And also, it'd be funny as well.
It was awesome. But I think, you did that, and then he went off to play tennis with Supersonic Sammy Blue or something. Yeah. So I think it was like, this montage, story time with Jepson. Shit, right, what am I going to do? Right, I'm going to go play tennis. Right, we'll go do that kind of thing. It's like, but again, that's cool because he does something, you then do something. And again, I just think it pushes, you push each other to be better.
Yeah, and as it comes back to what's always been said, the network of all of us at BlackHeart, we're all proper friendly with each other. It's really nice. There's no unwantedness. There's no negativeness. Everyone's there to support each other. And it's that thing of, I'm going to push myself because then it's going to encourage you to push yourself. And I remember sending it in, I think it was the day before he was editing it, I went out. We saw him at training that night, and he asked him about it, and he was just like, absolutely brilliant. It's like, so good. And he was describing, like, I can put clips in here when you mentioned this. He said it just made it so easy to edit, so easy to do. It just, obviously, story time. He said it just, because of that and the way it was done, it could add so much more to it to make it that bit more emphasize what I'm trying to sell. It's like brilliant.
That's it. And it's like I say, it's just that kind of sort of stuff where it just makes it feel like, I'm not blowing smoke. It's obviously it's not Raw or SmackDown or stuff like that. But when you're watching episodic stuff, you don't want to just see stuff in the ring. That's not what that's what you go to the big shows for. The episodic stuff is to progress storylines. It's to see you guys either backstage or in your houses or somewhere, that makes it look like we're getting closer to you and you're talking directly to us as fans. And so, I legitimately love that moment. I think it's one of the best things I've seen. Besides, some of the matches, I think it's, and what Gung Ho's done as well. Dude, kudos to you. It was spot on. Perfect. I want to see more. I do want to see more moments like that, though. Whether you still got the belt or not, obviously, I don't know. But if you don't have the belt, I want to see you sat in that chair telling stories of redemption or rematches.
I'm not losing the belt. That's my plan. As I said in the last, I've done the Book of Jepson twice, and I said in the last one, there's a spoiler predicted. Jump straight to the ending of the first section of the Book of Jepson. I ain't losing it.
There you go. Then. So we want chapter 3. We want to see you sat there talking about whoever comes next. I don't know, obviously, who the next contender will be or who's in line. But if you make this again, I'm not escalating it kind of thing, but it's very reminiscent of the Bray Wyatt just sat in the rocking chair, just talking. You're just talking to the camera, and you're just talking to the fans, and you're getting your point across.
I will admit, I hate promos. I'm not the biggest talker. Dyslexic, so I struggle with reading. I feel like sometimes my mouth runs faster than my brain is keeping up with. So it's like I needed something to be slow for myself. But even when watching wrestling, I hated people in the ring talking because I get it tells a story and it adds to it, but I always struggled. But until I saw Bray Wyatt doing it, like I'm glued in, I'm sucked in every time. I love everything he did, and yeah, as much as I didn't want to go for a whole Bray Wyatt feel, it's like I want to try to. The main thing I liked about him was for telling the stories, and there was sometimes, especially early days, to start telling the stories like, well, this has got nothing to do with wrestling. I mean, it brings it back around. It's like, oh, I'm sucked in. I love it, and yeah, I thought I want to not be him because obviously I try to be someone else, try to be yourself, but the whole storytelling he did, it's like I want to try something like that, even if it's just the once, see how it goes. And yeah, we've done twice, maybe a third time. We'll see.
Yes, but yeah, I'm not saying, you know, you basically captured the energy. That's what it just came across. Like say, you kind of got my attention, and just you don't have to talk quick. You can talk slow and precise. Sometimes that's a scarier kind of thing. You know, if somebody's saying something very methodical and they're just talking very slowly, very precisely, I'm like, oh, that's got my attention even more now. So yeah, dude, absolutely loved it. And no offense to Mr. I don't know, I can't say this, you know, obviously Mr. Winter's the face, you know, I want him to, you know, I should be wanting him to get the belt and everything, but you've been on the show now, so I've got to be loyal to you as a guest. So, you know what I mean? I'm kind of going to be rooting for Mr. Jepson to retain, and, you know, we get another story time at some point. But just don't tell Mr. Winter. I don't want him angry at me.
Nah, I won't pass it on. But I can't say he won't listen.
There we go. You see, I'm just saying, he's going to freaking watch this anyway. So next time I see him, he's going to be like, I've got to be loyal to my guests. That's my defense. You know, you come on the show, you talk to me, you take time out of your day to talk to me. You, from this point onwards, have my undivided loyalty, and I will always root for you in a match, even if I'm not meant to. So you now have two fans.
Yeah.
So, dude, it's been an absolute pleasure. I've just clocked the time. Sorry, buddy. Like I say, I know how busy you are and stuff as well. So, do you want to let people know where they can kind of find you on the socials and see what you're up to?
This is going to test my memory because everything is different. Social media, the main one is Instagram. I say Instagram and Facebook. I think Instagram is Andrew_Jepson MM. I think Facebook is just Andrew Jepson. Easy. I'm on X or Twitter, but I try to use when I can. I'm rubbish at it. I hate social media. No, honestly, but I get.
Obviously, we'll tag you on stuff anyway. So, you know, obviously, if you know you're watching this, thank you. When we share the episode, obviously, hopefully, you follow us on social medias. Please click on, you know, Andrew's account, give him a follow, see what he's up to. Obviously, it'll be Ash who does all the talking on Insta. He'll tag you in the post when it gets uploaded, and he'll big you up and he'll hype you up and everything like that. He'll probably drop you a message just to see if it's all okay. So when Ash has done that on Instagram, as I said, please follow Mr. Jepson and keep your eyes open. If you can make it to a BlackHeart show, please do so. Like I said, normally on the first Sunday of every month, 8th of September, so a week on Sunday this week. An amazing roster, an amazing promotion, great champion. And yeah, I want to see BlackHeart do more. I kind of want to see them take the next steps. But if they take the next steps, I know obviously they don't want to really relocate. I don't want to fill it up too much.
Yeah, we love where we do it every month. Guys will Theatre, we absolutely love it. It's the building's lovely as it is. It's a nice atmosphere, nice venue. I think they're not quite at capacity yet, but they've been close to it a number of times.
That's good. That's what I mean. I don't want to sort of be like, yeah, go watch them, and then like people will be like, "Can't get in, mate." I'm like, but I try and hype it up. So, you know, if you don't get to watch it, make sure you subscribe to BlackHeart on YouTube and watch the weekly stuff. If you miss the big shows, they always put them on YouTube in 2 parts anyway. So yeah, Andrew, thank you so much, mate. Honestly, it's been an absolute pleasure. Hopefully you've enjoyed it, and you put those nerves to rest.
Yep, enjoyed it, loved it.
Awesome, good stuff. So obviously hit Mr. Jepson up on the socials. Hopefully you're following us. If you're not, it is WTLS420 on Twitter and WTLS316 on Instagram. Thank you for watching. Hit like, subscribe, share, comment, do all the generic stuff I ask you to do every episode, and keep your eyes peeled. Got some more awesome stuff coming up this week. I'm trying to think who my guest is on Wednesday, and I've just totally gone mind blank, so I can't tell you. But I can tell you some exciting news. In October, we are launching a new show with DJ King, where me and him and a guest every episode will be watching WCW 2000 pay-per-views for our sins. We will watch them so you don't have to. And we'll tell you all about them. So, dude, I don't know if you've ever watched WCW 2000 stuff.
No, as I said, I mainly came into it in the invasion part and missed quite a bit of it.
Dude, it's awesome. It's just B-movie-tastic. It's great. But thank you for watching, and we'll see you again very soon. Goodbye.
Bye. Thank you.